when anybody won a Mr. America or Mr. Universe, that was the limit. They were not permitted to enter the show twice. In this way, we lost all the great talent. Those who were able to make it to the top were not able to compete. And because of that, they never had a chance to fully develop their potential. Because a lot of these champions reached their peak when they were 22, 23, or 24. And you never reach your peak of development possibly until you're in the mid-30s. So therefore, all these great champions were lost to the sports, and none of us knew to what potential the human body can grow. And I was interested to find out, to see to what degree the human body can achieve and what God expected the human body to become. And the only way we can know about the perfection of the human body is to strive to the limit.
As you know, this is the 30th anniversary of the Olympia contest. And the Olympia contest has changed the face of bodybuilding because bodybuilding and bodybuilders are able to make a living from the sport. And it wouldn't have been possible without the foresight of one man, Mr. Joe Weider. And at this time, I'd like to call Joe Weider out to the stage. We wanted to present Joe with a special gift to commemorate 30 years of professional bodybuilding and 30 years of Mr. Olympia. I could have given him a tie, could have given him a shirt, could have given him a plaque, but nothing would have meant to him what we're going to give him now. For the first time ever, the 9 Mr. Olympias together on stage. Joe Weider, join your champions.
Really, I'm surprised and happy that you came. Yeah. Hey, Franco.
Love you. Thank you.
We love you too, Franco. Thanks a lot.
The older guy.
Frank,
Thanks, Joe.
And thank you for being here. I'm really surprised.
My pleasure.
Shake yourself.
How are you?
Okay, it's a real honor to be here.
Oh, thank you
I'm so
very
happy
much,
that
Joe.
you came.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
surprised. Hi, Samir.
Nice to see you.
You look great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be good, okay?
Thank you.
B, well, what can I say about you? All you do is smile and light up the whole place.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Well, great champ. Keep on winning and maybe I'll break up this record, okay? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I just want to say a few words about Larry. He was the first Mr. Olympia. It was about at the end of 1964, we were eating at a Matador restaurant, and poor Larry was very unhappy. He just won the Mr. Universe and Mr. America titles, and he said, what am I going to do now, Joe? There's no more other contests I can enter. Why should I retire so young? So we said, well, Larry, we got to think of a title so we can keep all the champions in the game, because usually at that time you can only win a title once.
And usually the winners were very young and they haven't reached the peak of perfection. So we decided to have a contest to bring in all the champions and they can repeat and win as much as possible the event. So we sat down, we had to develop a title. So we said, well, what should we call it? Now Larry and I, we were just having some beer at that time after our meal. And guess what we were drinking? Olympia beer. So we decided we'll call him Mr. Olympia. And he was very happy that he competed and he showed up and he was a great champion. Yeah.
It's going great.
Yeah.
Maybe we should say something. Maybe Larry wants to say something.
You want to say something, Larry?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, Larry.
You're all right.
Joe's going to go on and talk forever.
Go on.
You want to set this up so when it comes your turn, you can talk. Huh?
Say to you.
Go ahead, Larry.
Well, I got a lot to say. If you guys sit down, I'll really take care of this.
Come on.
Well, in that short time, I don't know what I'm going to say except that
Thank you very much, Larry.
it's your turn in a minute. It's a great honor, as you can imagine, to stand here next to all these champions and to be a part of them. I mean, there are no words. There are no words. You can feel it yourself. To be able to see the champions of your sport and to be here at a night when they're all here together and for me to be able to stand on the stage next to them, you can imagine the honor it is. And I want to pay special tribute to my friend Joe. I would not be even known in this industry if Joe hadn't have continually put my face in the magazines and supported me and helped me in advertising and so forth. And so I want him to know publicly in front of each one of you that he's been a great and loyal friend, and I really appreciate him.
Sergio, when he was at his peak, he was unbelievable. I remember one day we met in Chicago, and I invited him to a very sophisticated restaurant, and he had to wear a shirt and a tie. And sure enough, Sergio came in with his tank top and with his medals in front of him, and I thought it was going to throw all of us out, but not Sergio. And they looked at him. The maitre d' didn't say a word. The place was quiet. They just stared and stared at him. He was absolutely, it was wonderful, fabulous sight you can imagine when he was in shape. And even now, I won't dare to talk about him at all.
Said something, Arnold.
I think.
Thank you. I won't say much. Joe already said it all. I thank you for being here. Appreciate it. God bless her all. Here's Arnold.
If it wasn't for Arnold in the mid-'70s, when he hit his peak, and bodybuilding was just becoming famous because of television and publicity and so forth, they figured, you know, they always try to ridicule bodybuilders. They had only bronze but no brain. So they thought they would get Arnold on the show and try to make a fool of him, to downplay bodybuilders. But fortunately, he turned the tables on them all. He made them all look silly with his charm and his personality and all. But he decided, maybe if they can do it, these fellows, I'll do it better. And he decided that he wanted to be in the movies, and actually he outperformed them all, and he became one of the greatest of all superstars. But I want to tell you just one story.
No, please.
Yeah, very short one.
Sounds good.
Okay. Arnold used to visit me in New York, and one day I decided to take him around to some of the art shops. And Arnold was very smart. He knew everything, and he always was able to put something over on me. But this time I said I was going to get him. I took him down to an antique shop, and I showed him a little table, and I said, "Well, Arnold, what do you think a table is worth?" He looked at that. He said, "Oh, it was $60. And I called over the owner and asked him, what does he want for his table? He says about 20,000. He became so sheepish, and he got that boyish look that spelled charm and everything. He endeared you to his heart. I'm always glad, and I'm very proud of Arnold, and the sport is very proud of him too. Thank you, Arnold.
This is so emotional. Anyway, I only have one anecdote, and that is that this whole thing of me becoming part of this Olympia competition was very simple. It was 1966 when I received a phone call from Joe Weider when I was in Germany. And on the other side it said, "Arnold, I want to make you a champion. I'm going to give you all my protein. I'm going to put you on all my covers all over the world and make you a big champion. What do you say?" And I said to him, "Joe, you got it. I'm coming." So this is where everything began. I came over here to America in 1968. I started competing in 1969. I'm one of the unique Olympians, I think, because I have the talent of having lost the Mr. Olympia contest against this great champion. I've promoted the Mr. Olympia competition, and I also have won the Mr. Olympia. So I think this is a unique thing to have, right? But in any case, let me just tell you, without this creation of the Mr. Olympia competition, without what you have done for bodybuilding, Joe, which I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, really, all jokes aside, you have really done this whole thing. You have given us the inspiration that we all had to train year after year, that there was a step beyond the Mr. Universe competition, that we had something to go for and to train every day 4 or 5 hours. This was your creation, this is your baby here, and this is why we're all here today. You are the one that brought me to this country, you are the one that gave us all the inspiration, you are the one that created this great title, and we want to thank you all, and you deserve this gift. That's why we all flew in here to just be with you on this special day on our 30th anniversary. Thank you very much, Joe, and thank all of you. Thank you.
I'll never develop an inferiority complex anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, what can we say about little Franco? You know, Arnold was here for a few months, and I learned of his great salesmanship. He says, "Joe, I'm training hard, but I need my training partner. He's in Germany. I will want you to help me to bring him over." He says, "He is powerful. He's a massive. He will push me." So I said, "Okay." We sent for Franco. And what do you think? I expected Franco to be 6 feet tall, 230 pounds to push Arnold. And then I was surprised to see him. But after knowing him and training with him a bit in the gym, every word that Arnold said about Franco was true. He was one of the strongest men I've ever met, charming. Every time he was on the cover with that smile of his, he sold copies. The only one that sold more copies than him was Arnold. And there always was a struggle between Arnold and Franco. Franco always wanted to outdo Arnold, whether to win titles, to produce movies, and so forth. And it's an honor that you're such a persistent person, and I congratulate you, Franco.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Thank you. You know, after Arnold's speech and Joe's speech, I can go home now. But I want to say one thing. Joe, you know, everybody here is going to say good things about Joe. But he's not the best person walking, believe me. Okay? When I came here, we were getting little money from Joe, and I said to Arnold, "Look, we go shopping Friday, we buy a few steaks, and by Tuesday the food is gone. We need a raise." And in 1970, Arnold won Mr. Olympia, I won Mr. Universe, and I said, maybe we should get together, have a dinner for Joe, and ask for a raise. And Arnold says, "Huh, good idea, but you have to lift 700 pounds. in that lift. I said, good. I killed myself training. We go to Venice Beach, all three, and there are people watching and everything, and I lifted 700 pounds like up, almost 2 reps, and then Joe walks away like he was pissed off. And I said, okay, I said, Arnold is going to handle the talking because Arnold was always good in business, you know, like, let me talk, you know. So we get home, I cook the steaks and put the wine, and I say, Arnold, ask him for the raise now. No, he says, wait. I said, give him more wine. So we are sitting there. You know? Finally, when Arnold starts to open his mouth, Joe can read what he's up to. And he goes, come on, Franco is a lazy bastard.
I said, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know? He used to put 800 pounds and forget all this monkey business, you know, and get really into this bodybuilding and powerlifting. I love power. And we got a little raise by like 1%. But anyway, I want to thank you very much because... No, I'm serious. Because without you, I will not be here, absolutely. And 30 years of history making, 30 years, all the Mr. Olympias are here. It's a real history, and there are only 9 Mr. Olympias, 30 times Mr. Olympia here. And we thank you for everything, and we should do it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Franco. You know, Frank Zane, when he was at his best, he was actually one of the most underrated bodybuilders. Because when he came on the scene, he was so symmetrical, proportionate, and he conveyed the Apollon type of a body, almost like the figure of David. But a lot of bodybuilders, even though they appreciated it, they underrated him because of the lack of mass. But despite the lack of mass, he went on to win the title 3 times, and he always was a student of the sport, very intelligent, very serious, and he really contributed greatly intellectually to the sport, for which I'm very proud of him being a Mr. Olympia. Very good.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I feel very fortunate to be able to stand up here. It's almost like I've been able to stand on the shoulders of giants who have come before me. And Joe, I certainly owe you a lot for helping me throughout the years and giving me the criticism I've needed to improve, which without it, it's impossible to improve. And also the early years that I spent training with Arnold and Franco at Gold's Gym, and the camaraderie we had at competitions in the early 70s. And I think of those days with just great emotion, because Joe was there too in the gym training with us, I remember. And he just gave me wonderful advice, and actually helped me develop quite a few new poses, things that I just never knew. And I always went to Joe before competition for criticism, and of course I went to Arnold too for criticism too, and that always didn't work out, but most of the time it did. But if you need anything in bodybuilding, it's criticism, and you need to be told not only what's good about you, but what you need to improve, because as people, we cannot see ourselves. And I truly appreciate that, and I'm very grateful to all of you, and I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Chris Dickerson won a title after Zane gave up. No. When he won a title, he beat out a lot of great stars. Very few people know it. He beat out all the champs of that day, including Frank.
It was a wonderful experience being there and winning the title. And I was frustrated twice, and I thought, well, I really want that title, and I'm so glad I hung in there, because now you just say Mr. Olympia.
But you had to overcome Franco and Arnold.
Yes, I remember them. but we're also proud to be up here, and it's just a wonderful thing to say you're Mr. Olympia, and you're always Mr. Olympia, always. Terrific, and thank you, Joe.
That's okay.
Samir, when he won a title in Germany, he was no pussycat. He was really a Lebanese lion. He was striated, massive, and muscular. And when he won a title, he beat out, at that time he beat out up-and-coming Lee Haney, among other great stars
I guess
of the
I'm
day.
one of the lucky one.
No, yeah, but you were a great, great star, and you really startled the world.
Thank you.
And I'm very proud that you were such a great champion. You lived up to it, and Lee had a lot of inspiration to get back and win the title.
Well, I don't have a long story to tell, but all I could say is it started back in Lebanon, of course, because of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Franco Colombo, and Frank Zane. Byproduct, you know, I decided to be one of those stars, you know. It's like, it's very, it's emotional for me because being there, I mean, these men right here, I admire them like a great deal you can't imagine, okay? So all I could say, the Mr. Olympia is a great achievement. I'm very glad to be part of it. Oh, okay, thank you, Franco. Thanks. So it's a great achievement, and I'm really, really glad and very, very proud to be part of it. And I wanted to thank Joe Eder and the IFBB. I want to thank all the champions that inspire me, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, Frank Zane, Franco Colombo, etc. And that's it. I'm one of 9. You can't, you know, you are history. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you, Joe.
Stop it. Lee Haney is one of the greatest champions we ever had. And I want to tell you, really, I want to tell you, when he was an aspiring champion, when he won the amateur titles, and I thought that he would be one of the great bodybuilders of all time, I encouraged him, and I helped him to establish himself in Los Angeles. He moved there, he trained for a few years, he became a champion, but his heart was always in Atlanta. And there where he belonged, he moved back there. But I want you to know, in the early days, when he was with us, and he came to visit us quite often, no matter how depressed, no matter how overworked I was, whenever he walked in with that walk and with that smile, he always cheered my day up. And he always does that to everybody he knows. He is a very dear friend, and I love him very much. And he's honorable. He has a wonderful wife and children, and he does good work for people, and the sport is really proud of him. We all love him.
You know, it was in 1982, after winning the NBC Nationals and the Universe, that all of my dreams had begun to come true. But it really happened once I received a telephone call from Joe asking me if I wanted to come to California and train. And it was just like all of this hard work over the years had finally come to reality. And a gentleman that I had admired in the magazine who had made other champions was now offering me the same opportunity. So you couldn't imagine the excitement. And one of the things that Joe said to me, he said, well, Lee, when you come here, you work hard, you discipline yourself. Then he said, and do you have a girl that you're in love with? I said, yes, her name is Shirley. He said, well, grab her and bring her on, and I'll make sure she have a job when she gets here. Make sure Shirley worked. And he took good care of us, you know. So I really appreciate you, Joe. I thank you for everything that you've done for our sports. You've created lives, you've created opportunity, and God bless you because you set your sights on things above this world, which is eternal. God bless you.
Thank you. 1 minute, 1 minute. You know, as we look back on those champions, the champions of the 60s laid a foundation through their dedication and their integrity and to prepare the sport for the generation of the 70s. The champions of the 70s trained hard, dedicated, they were honorable, they competed at their best, and by doing that, they kept the sport alive. and laid a great foundation in the 70s for the champions of the 80s. And I want to thank the champions for the 80s being so dedicated, continuing our sport, and through them, we have champions now and an honorable sport for all the hard work they have done into the 90s. I want to thank you all, and never forget Dorian. You know, the night that Dorian first competed in the Mr. Olympia, he ran into a brick wall for Lee Haney. Lee was at his absolute best. I don't think anybody could have beaten him that night. But Dorian went through the baptism of fire, and the year afterwards, when he came up on stage, he looked like some prehistoric monster, like a dinosaur, standing among all the bodybuilders out of the past. He really floored me, and when he took his back poses, he sent chills up my spine. He was so fantastic, and he still is. And I hope that he continues, if he has a chance, to continue winning titles one after the other, because he is a fine man, good man, married man, and very happy and very honorable to his wife, the sport and all. And I'm very proud of you, Lee.
I'm going to continue on as far as trying to win one tonight anyway. I'm really overawed to be up here with all these guys. These are like my heroes, guys that I grew up reading about. And I'd just like to echo what everybody else said. You know, I think we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to Joe for having the vision to create this contest. Without Joe, none of us would be here. Thanks a lot.
We have now all praised Joe, how great Joe is, and how great we all are. Thank you, Joe, for your compliments, but I think it would be unfair to finish this ceremony without mentioning my dear friend Ben Weeder, who is sitting out there. Give Ben a hand, ladies and gentlemen. He's the man that has worked on the IFBB, built the IFBB, and has helped this competition to go and get the respect. Thank you very much, Ben Weeder. Thank you. We appreciate it. And of course, Joe's wife, Betty, is out there. Betty, do you want to stand up? Yes, there's Betty Weeder. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Really appreciate you taking your time off and your hard work to come here.
Don't worry, Joe.
I just think it would be really wrong if we let Arnold have the last word.
You know, while these champions really build a great sport, which will go on and we believe will be part of the Olympics shortly, but I have to thank you all, every woman and man here, child, everybody, for without your support, without your help, without your dedication to our sport, supporting the shows, this would never take place. And I also want to thank you for letting me be part of the sport, to be part of your life, and do whatever I could, as long as I could, for the benefit of everybody here. God bless.
Joe, and let's take one picture, you and your champions.
Yeah.
Get in the center. One picture. Joe Weeder and his champions. You'll never get this picture again. Thank you, gentlemen.